or to the cloud.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have like a minute of like awkwardness downloaded to the computer. But that'll be fine. Okay. Well, it is 5:32. We can, if y'all want, we can wait a couple more minutes, or we can go on and get started.
I think we should go ahead and get started.
Okay. Jennifer and Jordana, if y'all don't mind turning on your camera, so this is gonna be pretty interactive, and we want to be able to see y'all. Unless there's something kind of prohibiting that, then I totally understand.
Hey, Jordana.
So we're gonna go through some introductions, and then we'll do staff first, and then our panelists, and then we'll give students the chance to introduce themselves as well. So Tracy, how about we start with you?
Hi, good evening. I'm Tracy Patterson. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations at Rhodes. I'm a member of the class of '84, and I have survived many economic downturns in my professional career. So I've had a variety of professions also. I have worked in Washington, D.C. In a nonprofit. I've been an attorney and other nonprofit work, and then I've been at Rhodes for 14 years.
Hey, Amy, you want to go?
I'd love to. Thank you. My name is Amy Moen. I'm the Associate Director in Career Services. I've been here 3 years, but previous to that, a full career of human resources, talent acquisition, and recruiting. And I'm just having a ball at Rhodes. Appreciate the invitation to join. I won't be able to stay very long tonight, but definitely wanted to check in with you all. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Amy. So my name is Liz Moak. I am the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations. I am the member of the class of 2011. I've got, the economy was kind of like on its upward swing as I was starting my job search, but I did try to go to New York City for a while, which was an interesting period. So I've done everything from retail for a major bicycle seller in Manhattan. I was in student affairs for 5 years before switching over to alumni and development. So got a little bit of all sorts of things. Okay, so let's have our panelists introduce themselves. I'm going to just go in the order of as people appear on my screen. So Alex, you're up first.
Hey, Alex Height here. I am the class of 2008, and I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I studied international studies at Rhodes, and I guess when I finished up at Rhodes, I was entering a pretty bad job market in '08. And I moved to New York right after finishing up and didn't have a job, and somehow miraculously landed a position about 3 weeks to a month into moving to New York. At a great nonprofit run by a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and had a really great experience there. Decided to go to grad school after a few years and focused on public policy, moved down to DC, and worked in federal government space for a while. And now I'm back in Pittsburgh working for a tech startup, which being in a startup at this time is also pretty exciting, and has some challenges, but it's an exciting time.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Carolina?
Hey everyone, I'm Carolina Calhoun. I am class of 2009 business and econ double major, and I stayed on for the master's in accounting program, so that's why you see 09 and 10. And it was actually a great time to get a master's degree because, as Alex said, I was just 1 year behind him. So it was a time that was certainly in the business and finance, accounting, economics world impacted pretty hard. I will say that I was fortunate in that I did have an offer with Ernst & Young, accounting firm that I worked for about 3 years after grad school, already going into grad school. But even though I had a job offer, there was uncertainty about whether or not they would rescind it, or would I be going into an environment where people were getting laid off, and how was I going to fit into all that? I'm currently at Mercer Capital, so still in Memphis. I love Memphis, but I do travel a lot, so I do get out of Memphis. But I do love Rhodes and Memphis and all that that entails.
Thank you. Josh.
Sure, thanks, Liz. Josh Solomon, class of 2000, so 20 years ago. I graduated during the dot-com bubble, or as that was beginning to unfold. I took the prerequisites for med school and majored in business and economics. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, but moved to Atlanta, Georgia after graduating, and I'm currently a private wealth advisor with Merrill Lynch. And I just wanted to take a quick second and also congratulate each of you. I know it's a significant accomplishment to graduate from Rhodes College, especially given the rigor and demands of our college. So you should be proud, and I'm honored to be here with you this evening.
And then I would like for our students present to introduce themselves as well. Again, just going to go in the order everyone's on the screen. So Jordana, you're up.
Hey everyone, my name is Jordana. I'm a graduating senior with honors in English, literature, and also theater. I'm in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. I'm looking to do kind of like content creation or video production or like arts nonprofit work.
Okay, Jackson, you're up.
Hey y'all, my name is Jackson. I'm graduating in a few days, and I'm from Paris, Tennessee. I'm majoring in political economy, and my plans are to go to law school in about a year, but I'm not really sure. I've been applying to some grad schools in finance and marketing, so I'm just kind of looking for things right now, being flexible.
Okay. Thanks, Jackson. Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I actually live in Memphis, but my parents are going to be moving, so I don't know where I'll be after that. But next year I'm going to be teaching English abroad. I'll do that for a year or two, and then after that I'm thinking about going to grad school. I'm not sure where yet. I haven't started applying, of course, because I still have a couple years, but that's the plan.
Okay. And Sabrina.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. I am graduating in a week, and I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I'm a health equity major. It's a new major, but it's pretty much a mixture between public health, urban studies, religious studies, and those majors at Rhodes. It's an interdisciplinary major, so I feel like it'll give me a lot of avenues into different fields, but I am interested in going to medical school at some point. I have all my prereqs, but I also have been kind of interested in looking at what else that exists with health consulting and policy work. So yeah.
Okay, great. So let's see. I have some kind of questions that I sent to our panelists earlier, and then once we get through those, if the students have any questions, then we'll dive right on into that. So what helped you the most in landing that first job right out of college?
You just want to go in order again?
We can absolutely do that. I think that's probably like the most organized way to do it.
I think it was just really a combination of things for me. I worked really closely with career services. They were really great when I was at Rhodes. And I also just did a lot of job hunting once I got to New York City. It was sort of just good luck as well. I walked into my first in-person interview, and that was the offer that I took. So it doesn't always turn out that way. But I would say, keep options open and, look at a lot of different job boards. We're hiring right now. So I'll make sure that I get all that information over to Amy for what we're looking for. And remote roles are fine for us. So.
Carolina?
I like the thumbs up. That's a great way. So one complaint on Zoom is that there are only 2 expressions so far. So hopefully they ramp up their game, because we've been using Teams, which is an Outlook platform, and that one has gotten quite a lot of memes and GIFs lately. But navigating the remote technology world. So I actually had a lot of internships during my time at Rhodes. I think I was probably an intern poster child. The Commercial Appeal wrote an article about me. I think Sandy George Tracy was involved with that a little bit. But I was trying to think about how that could turn into a piece of advice for right now. Certainly making internship relationships could be critical right now if you are not in a position where you know what you want to do, or maybe you've got a year in limbo right now. It's a great time to take an internship, and pay would be great, but if you have some flexibility, even getting yourself in the door and getting an internship that's low paid or no paid, and that might turn into a job offer, right? So kind of that part-time into full-time thinking mindset. And Alex, you said something about really just going into the job hunt eager. Indeed did not exist when I was graduating. LinkedIn did not exist when I was graduating. Utilizing those resources right now and scrolling through all the job offers, actually applying for a job, and then sending a person a follow-up email, taking that extra initiative, going, let's say our company had a job posting and you applied for it, but then you went and found the email address of someone and said, hey, I applied for this job. I'm really interested. I just wanted to give it another personal touch. So those elements of personalization are pretty critical, especially too, because Indeed does work off of metrics. So if you can set yourself apart, that's pretty critical.
I guess I'm up, Liz.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So, 20 years ago, with the dot-com bubble, I tried to actually go into the financial industry. And as I applied and I made phone calls to all these different companies in New York and in Dallas and even Atlanta, nobody returned my phone calls. And actually, I never even got rejection letters. They weren't even kind enough to do that. So it was pretty tough. And may have lost.
Oh, you're there.
But I tell you what helped me the most was staring me right in my face. It was my parents, my parents' friends, my friends' parents, and even alumni from Rhodes College, along with the Career Services Office. They're the ones that knew me the best and knew what I would be really good at, because let's face it, it's sometimes we just don't know, and that's A-okay. So I really leaned on that group, and it was really in that spring and summer, it just wasn't the best job market, but there's nothing like a good warm referral introduction. And so that's where I leaned on. I got a lot of good perspective from those folks, but that was only half the battle, because after a warm introduction, it then took me 3 tries to actually get into Merrill Lynch. So that means I got rejected twice, and that was okay. But I think it was my persistence and willingness to do whatever it took to just be helpful in the office that finally got me the opportunity, albeit it was a $28,000 salary, to wear a suit and tie every day. And in fact, my first week there at Merrill Lynch, I was wearing jeans and cleaning closets, power drilling senior advisors' desks together, and operating a phone switchboard, which that's mind-blowing right there. But it was good. At the end of the day, like Carolina said, it's getting your foot in the door. And once you get your foot in the door, and it's with a good quality company that has a good culture, good principles, then it's your opportunity to really showcase who you are. Whether it's the work ethic, attitude, your level of competency, and then of course your personality. So 20 years later, I'm still at Merrill Lynch. It's been my one and only job that's now a career. I love it. One of my partners and friends now 20 years is a fellow Rhodes alum, and he's actually on the board of trustees at Rhodes College. So we've also hired 6 years ago another Rhodes College alum. So it's really been, you know, if you stick with some principles and be true to yourself and surround yourself by those that know you best, you'll figure it out. But definitely lean on who's right there in front of you, and there are a lot of warm introductions that can be made and give you good perspective. So thanks, Liz.
Sure thing. Okay, so one of the things that I think is the hallmark of being a Rhodes student is being very involved on campus, not just academically, but socially with, you know, clubs and organizations. And, you know, sometimes we don't exactly think that we don't think about translating those experiences to things that are actionable on a resume. So I was hoping that our panelists could go through some of the things that they were involved in when they were students and how those experiences helped them demonstrate that they were a good candidate for those positions that they were applying for right out of college.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the activities that I was involved in at Rhodes are still applicable both in my job and just in my personal life. I mean, I did a lot of the, I participated in a lot of the different extracurricular organizations, from Kappa Sigma to Allocations Board to Model UN. And now I am active on different boards here in Pittsburgh as a board member, and that's helped, you know, as I'm in a tech startup now, and trying to build relationships for us to get funding. That's been helpful for me. So I think, you know, anything where you can leverage relationships is really important. I also think the experience I had is, you know, being on Allocations Board and taking a treasurer role with a fraternity made me look at finances in a really specific way. And so now those are skills that I'm still using, you know, as I'm budgeting for 3 years out, where I think we're going to be as a team and how we're going to grow. And that's something I never really thought about being applicable when I was in school. So I think that there's a lot of ways that you can leverage the things that you do in terms of like extracurriculars later on in life.
Thanks, Alex. Carolina?
Yeah, I was also involved in quite a few different organizations during my time at Rhodes. Took leadership roles in my sorority, volunteered at St. Jude and ALSAC. I also did Model UN, and Alex, I was trying to remember if we overlapped at all. I guess I was part of the volunteer group that helped the students that came in. Because I believe I did it 2 years in a row. But anyway, I know it's like you get 10 years out and things start getting a little fuzzy, right? Yeah. But yeah, one of the best things about that is Rhodes, you know, you've got your academics and you've got your extracurriculars, whether that's even doing extra theater work or a job on campus or being involved with a Greek organization or et cetera. If it's an internship, all these things are in addition to your workload, i.e. your school load. So you don't even realize it, but it's teaching you skills for managing your time, for managing your projects, for showing up on time and taking accountability. These are things that are so important in the workforce. And being, for example, when I was at EY, I noticed that the Rhodes candidates and my Rhodes peers there, we really stood apart from individuals that didn't have that diversified, blended life at college. And I think that's something that as you all are preparing to interview or preparing, you know, a speech or what you're going to respond to questions with, beef that up. take it to your advantage, because those really are skills that you are learning at Rhodes right now that you don't even realize that you can market for yourself. But when I was at EY, that was such a big factor of the candidates from EY that we started even recruiting more heavily from Rhodes than some of our other schools, because that was such a characteristic of Rhodes students that you could give them 5 different projects and they would figure out how to manage the time and report up and manage up and allocate time wisely. So don't forget about your non-degree activities that you're doing, even if they're for a sorority or fraternity or Model UN. They're really all helping you with those interpersonal and managing skills that are applicable to really all elements of life, but especially your work career.
Yeah, so I served on RSG, and then through being an ATO, I spent 3 years leading IFC, and I was also active in intramural sports. And the biggest takeaway from all that was that I had so many interactions with so many different people, and got to understand people with very different views, interests, passions. And when I think about when I'm looking to hire folks today onto my team or for the office, it's who can work well together and be a good teammate and have an open mind and an open heart. And I think that's just so key. And Rhodes College just gave me an opportunity, because I'm an introvert, and doing this here today is tough in and of itself. Tracy knows me long enough, but it really, Rhodes College gave me an opportunity to, or the environment gave me an opportunity to interact with very many different folks. And that's just been a huge blessing, taking that into the real world, because as we all know, things can get very polarizing out there. And it's important that we're all able to, in many ways, connect with each other. And we all do have some commonalities. So I would say that the opportunity to be a part of so many different organizations on campus, don't forget that at the end of the day, we're all one big community, and we all have to interact with each other. And that may be the biggest thing. And Rhodes is just a phenomenal environment within which, I could really develop all those skills. So I'll leave it there.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Yeah, I think being at in a space where we're kind of all being able to reflect a lot on different things right now, especially at the end of the school year for students, people working at home and really kind of thinking about what that work life looks like. We are doing a lot of reflecting at what is one thing that now that you wish that your graduating self would have known at that point in time?
Just one.
It can be several.
I think I wish I had not taken things so seriously. I think, we have a tendency to, be very focused on, what's happening right here, right now, without thinking about, and in the moment, everything just seems like it's just, super important and life or death situation, because there's a, B on a test, or, didn't get into a certain honor society, or didn't get to be president of a certain organization. But I think at the end of the day, it's more about the experiences and the lessons that you're taking away from all of those things. And it all works out at the end anyhow. And I think that everybody that, I've stayed in touch with from Rhodes all have pretty similar experiences, that, and we've all stayed super, super close. They're some of my best friends still. And you know, for me, it was way more about the relationships and the friendships than anything else.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great point, Alex. It's something that was so important at the moment kind of worked itself out in hindsight. It was important to focus on it, but maybe not stress out about it so much too. I thought about this as we were going into the call because I wanted to relate it to the time that I graduated in, to the time that we're in right now. And I think the one takeaway that I would say is during the time that I was graduating and wondering, and I said this earlier, you know, like, will my offer be rescinded? Will my colleagues be laid off? What does that mean for me? And we all introduced ourselves with our degrees and what we're working in right now. The biggest takeaway is this is affecting everyone. So even during the time I graduated, it wasn't just the finance industry, it was every industry. People were getting laid off in agriculture, farmers were not able to sell crop. And fast forward to now, I mean, the impact is on everyone. It's on families, it's on employees, it's on a variety of industries. So it's so easy to think about what's impacting me and like the jobs that I want to apply for, but it's a human nature, right? And one of the takeaways that I'm hearing is the human element and the relationship element. Be kind. I mean, a lot of people are going through a very challenging time across the board. So just be kind and be sensitive to the fact that everyone's going through something right now. And it's not just your industry because they're not hiring or your industry because people are getting laid off, but there is something across the board going on. And it's just a time even more so to be kind and grateful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great, Alex and Carolina. Yeah, I think the biggest thing from 20 years ago is that it's just way okay. And I said this earlier, it's just way okay not to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. Because I think we're all constantly evolving and learning who we are and what our passions and talents and interests are. And I think that's huge. But I tell you, Rhodes College did, for me, it broke down what I thought were my principles growing up as a child and into my high school years, and whether it be the search class or whether it be friends that I made that came from different backgrounds, different faiths and whatnot. But one thing was for sure, that I did develop some principles and I leaned on those and they guided me at different points and difficult points in my life early on, right out of college. And that really helped me as I entered the real world. So I'm thankful for the time at Rhodes because it helped me realize that you don't have to have all the answers, but you certainly need to have some principles. And so I'll leave it at that and look forward to these questions.
Can I say something first?
Absolutely, Tracy.
I'm a little older than everybody here. And so I don't know, did y'all listen to Professor McKinney's talk today, the last lecture for the seniors? Did any of y'all?
Yeah, but I'm going to.
Well, his whole point was not very long, so it's worth listening to later. I know it's recorded, but his whole point was you have a plan and then there's a path. And they're different things, but it's all going to relate to your path. And so I found when I graduated, I was editor of the Southwester. I was very involved in my sorority. I was the publications commissioner. So I had this idea of going to DC, an international studies major also, going to go to DC, get into politics, work on the Hill, journalism, that kind of thing. And that's not exactly what happened. What happened was I ended up working in nonprofits and learning about fundraising and lobbying, which then brought me back to Memphis because I wanted to go to law school, which then also brought me doing more fundraising, which then practice law, which then got me to Rhodes College, where I've been for 14 years and is the dream job. And so that was never really in my plan to be at Rhodes, but that's the path that I took. And all of those experiences I had along the way getting here helped me get to where I am now, if that makes sense. So Jackson, I don't know if you're planning to stay. Oh, he left. He was going to stay in Paris or not, but y'all need to look at these, and you might not right now because of the environment, the climate that we have, get that dream job, but whatever job you do get is going to help you get to that next job. It's going to help develop you and develop skills in you, and make you particularly competitive in the next field. And so I think that's something that I wish I'd known, because I worried about that a lot when I was getting out of college, but also worrying about where I am in relation to my classmates. We're all on our own developmental path. And so at some point, none of, where we all are now coming out of Rhodes does not matter at all, because in 15 years, we're all going to be in the most similar place possible, professionally and personally. And so I know it's hard to think of right now, but to want to say it's all going to work out, it really is all going to work out. I promise you. So, but you know that the alumni are here to help you. And so please do not be afraid to ask for help, because we really, that's why these folks are here. They want to help you all. So that's what I have to say.
Absolutely. Okay. I know since it's the last day of class, there are a lot of other departmental things going on, like Honor Society inductions. I think Jackson said that he had a department toast to get to, which is a fantastic thing that they're doing. But I did want to open the floor to Jenny and Sabrina if y'all had any questions for our panelists tonight. Anybody?
Can I ask, so Jenny, are you're staying in Memphis, and do you know, you said you're going to plan to go teach abroad? They have not canceled that program for you?
No, as of right now, it's still going on. So I'm going to be in Spain. I'll be in Madrid. And their school year doesn't start until October 1st. I think October 1st is when I need to be there by. So because it's so far in the future, they're choosing not to cancel it right now, but I'm not sure. But it should be still happening.
Okay, Jenny, just reach out to me after this, because there is a Rhodes alum. Her name is Claire Riley. She's class of 13. She started out in a very similar program, and she has stayed in Spain, in Madrid. She's still teaching English there. And she started out as it was going to be a 1 or 2 year thing, but she's still there, and she would love to connect to any Rhodes people who are going down a similar path, especially in Spain. So I will definitely get you in touch with her.
That's great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I had a question for those of you that have worked in your companies and organizations in the recruitment process. What did you guys see in particular, whether it be like cover letter wise or resume letter wise, that set people apart from the rest of the people that you were either interviewing or looking over for job applications?
I know for us, it's less about what's in the resume and cover letter that sets it apart. Even right now, we almost never look at a cover letter, even if we get one at this point. What really sets somebody apart is writing an email thank you, to be totally honest. That happens so infrequently that it stands out in my mind.
Yeah, I think a personal email is so important, even above the cover letter. And I think that a cover letter is still important, maybe even just to have it in there and check the box, but definitely agree that the email is the more personal element. If you know who, let's say, I think the question came from Jenny or Sabrina. Let's say you were emailing me and you had looked at the Mercer Capital website and you saw that I was a Rhodes alum, and you just said, hey, Carolina or Miss Calhoun, whichever way you decide to address, I'm interested in learning more about this open position. I've applied for it, or here's my resume. And I see that you're a Rhodes alum. I love my Rhodes community. And that's such a small statement, and maybe it doesn't feel natural to say it yet, and it takes practice to get to that point. but maybe just practice on people you know, or, you know, feel free to email me after this and practice what you would say, or I'm sure Josh and Alex would be happy to help as well. But just kind of going that extra mile and maybe trying to connect with someone, because there's a lot of people out there like us who enjoy helping out students, and whether they're from Rhodes College or another college or public or private, it's just people enjoy helping students, especially those who go the extra mile.
Yeah, I would just follow up and say that if they ask for a cover letter, definitely include it. But we never ask for one, and people send them anyhow, and we just ignore it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would agree with Alex and Carolina. I think you have to follow the protocol. So if a cover letter or resume are required, definitely do it. But I would tell you, to Alex's point, yeah, they hardly get read. We're all so extremely busy, and so the best thing you can do is make things visually pleasing and keep things succinct and to the point. And don't have a blank piece of paper, but make sure that it looks visually okay and good. But I would tell you, Sabrina, the biggest thing you could do is, and this goes back to what I was saying, is make sure that you've got a warm individual that helped push that cover letter or resume to the top or in front of the right person. That's super important. And then from there, it's upon you, when you're in that interview, to then be very engaging and really bring that resume to life, because more often than not, we're not reading all the details of these resumes. It's how you express yourself in those interviews. And then to Alex and Carolina's point, a thank you email is great. I'm 10 years or 8 years older, whatever that. Yeah. So I still believe in the handwritten note. I know it'll take a little bit longer to get there, but you could do both. And I appreciate both. And I still see both today. And it shows that you really do, you value the time that maybe I set aside to meet with you or to speak with you on the phone. So just think about, put yourself in other people's shoes, knowing how busy we all are, for that matter. And I think you'll figure out what's the best outcome, because every industry is also different as well. Whether you're dealing with someone in the tech industry versus someone in the financial industry, to, whatever other industries that you're contemplating. So I hope that's helpful from all of us. But certainly,
I had something to tack on to something you said, Josh. Keep it succinct. Keep your resumes at one page. I don't know if it's a wordiness thing or if it's font size. One page. I mean, if you really need 2 pages, you have got to be like a rock star who has just cured coronavirus. I mean, it's just like, keep it to one page. You could send me a stellar resume, and if it has like one line or one bullet page on page 2, and someone sent me that in a PDF, it will just drive me crazy that you didn't check that extra mile to make sure it fit on one page, or check your margins or whatever. It does drive people crazy, and I'm not the only one that it drives crazy. But also, since we're speaking of resumes, if you are applying for different types of jobs, maybe fundraiser versus industry specific, think about having 2 versions of a resume. That's what I did. I had a fundraising background as well, with volunteering and interning at ALSAC, but maybe I didn't necessarily use that for a job in finance. Maybe I used that for a scholarship application. But if it didn't fit on one page, I cut things down, and it's hard, but have versions of your resumes.
Yeah,
I want to add that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Spelling and punctuation I will judge you, because I get a lot of resumes when we have, and I try to hire alums, and so I really judge you if I get to a Rhodes alum and there's a misspelled word or a grammatical error. Now, I do read cover letters, and I know Rhodes does require a cover letter, And so if you have to write a cover letter, you don't want to write a general cover letter, like as what Carolina was saying. You want to be specific about the job to which you're applying at that company and keep it short though, that the things, the qualities you possess, the experiences you have make you qualify for that particular position. And you do want to write a different cover letter for every type of organization. You don't want to do one blanket to everybody.
Yeah, and double check those, because one time I did submit a cover letter that had a name of a different college in the closing line than the one I was submitting it to. Still got that job though. And it wasn't to Tracy. It was a one right out of grad school.
Not to continue harping on the same question, but as we're sitting here talking, my CEO just sent we use Slack, not Teams, but my CEO just sent a message to a few of us about somebody that I put forward from my grad program for something that we're hiring for, and we're now going to be interviewing her tomorrow. So, I mean, this is just to show, like, when there's somebody that's going to advocate for you internally in the organization. And she reached out to me about the role because I sent the position to my grad school's career services department, and this person emailed me directly and wanted to learn more about the position before she applied. And so we talked on the phone, and then she applied and she had more information about the role. And so she really, knocked the application out of the park. So I think that warmer relationship that Josh was talking about, and just reaching out, I think is really important.
Yeah, thank you so much for these thorough responses. They're very helpful.
Any other questions?
As far as grad school goes, those of you who have gone to grad school, I right now am not going because I'm not 100% sure what it is that I'd like to do afterwards. So I'm just kind of thinking, how is it that you decide which school is right for you? Like, how you know which program it is, how you knew that that's what you needed to do and that was the school where you needed to go?
So I intentionally didn't go to grad school right after Rhodes, because I wanted to work for a little bit and figure out what kind of grad program I wanted to go to. And then I spent a few years working for a nonprofit, and thought, okay, I can apply to law school, I can apply to a policy program. And I ended up going and doing a policy program, and that was the right fit. And now what I'm doing is sort of related to policy and technology, and also a little bit of the international studies and politics that I did in undergrad. And I think I was probably one of the older people in my program, but I think that I got more out of it because of it. So I would advocate for waiting and then going and doing a policy program with a few years of work behind you, or any grad program.
Yeah, I have a few friends. I am in my low to mid 30s, and I have a few friends in grad school right now. So, and my husband contemplated doing an MBA, but there's actually online programs now too, and like executive certificates. So those are just even some of the options that have evolved over the last 5 or 10 years. So don't think that you have to rush into grad school. You could even do it in 10 years like my friends are doing. So, but it's not a bad thing to think about, and have, just be checking out different programs, what people are doing. And there is a lot of virtual opportunity out there even before all this happened. And actually it's becoming more and more popular, or there are some programs that are like master's programs, but they're certificate programs that some of the really prestigious universities are doing. So there's no rush, and you can do as much research as you'd like right now.
And I didn't go to law school till I was 30. And so I really took my time, and I knew, you know, I worked in DC and I was in nonprofits, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I took time until I was really ready to commit to 3 years, because I was doing it full time. And so, again, you don't have to rush into anything. You can actually take your time to go to grad school. And you did too. You went to grad school too, Liz.
I did. So my path to grad school was a little different because I realized I wanted to work in a very specific field. I wanted to go into higher ed and work within student affairs for a while. I'm still kind of, you know, connected to that, but it's that's what that was. So when I was looking for programs that were closer to home for me, because I had been in New York, and I, you know, was ready to kind of come back south for a while. And the program that I ended up going to, you know, there are several different options. Like when you're looking at student affairs programs, they are, some are counselor track, some are strictly administrative track. Sometimes it's a master's of education, sometimes it's a master of arts, sometimes it's science. I wanted to go that counselor track because I wanted to go have like a little step further in, you know, really building, you know, connections and relationships with people. I thought that that was a really valuable part of my Rhodes experience and working with, you know, advisors and the student affairs offices on campus, that I wanted to make sure that I was as well prepared as I could be for that. So that's kind of how I got into that program. The other thing that I will say about grad school in general is, yes, Carolina is exactly right. You know, grad school is a lot more flexible in like the format that it's offered. Yes, it's certificate programs that just make you, you know, or that hone in on one kind of particular thing are really, really useful, and they're very short term and mostly online. You know, there's a multitude of online programs in a variety of fields, like all over. Every field you could imagine in schools all over the country have online grad programs generally. And another one that's becoming really popular is the executive grad program. Like it's actually like you would end up with your MBA, you would end up with your, you can do a doctorate like this. SMU has a doctorate in Doctor of Education for Student Affairs and Higher Education Administration, where you go to class one weekend a month. You are in class for 3 days straight, but that's that one weekend per month is how you do class, and you are able to still work full time and it not be incredibly overwhelming as far as your time commitment is concerned. So you have a lot of flexibility in even how grad school is structured. So, you know, take your time and you know, figure out what is going to best fit your needs, and then find the program that's going to reflect that.
Thank you. That was actually really helpful. Thank you.
Anything else?
Well, thank you so much. This was very informative. And Jenny and Sabrina, thank you so much for participating. And I know that Jackson and Jordana had to run for other commitments, but we really appreciate your time. Mm-hmm. And please reach out to us if you need any assistance. We're here to help you. And also, you know, get on that LinkedIn. And if there's somebody you find on LinkedIn, you can always email us and say, hey, do you know this person? Or do you have their contact info? And that's another good way of kind of narrowing things down, is asking us specifically, do you know this person? Can you connect me with this person? So many times, you know, we do know them, or we know somebody who does know them, or,
yes,
you know, we can help reach out just from the alumni office and introduce you that way. So
absolutely.
But
yeah, Jenny, don't forget to about the my friend in Spain.
I'll email you.
Yeah. Sabrina, did you have one more thing?
I have to jump on a departmental toast at 6:30, but I just want to say thank you so much to everyone. I will definitely, if I ever see someone that was in your graduating class, I will make sure to contact all of you. It's very comforting to hear that you guys were in similar positions or graduating from Rhodes, and how you guys dealt with kind of figuring out life from there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. I'm gonna head out, but yeah.
You're welcome. Good luck and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, thank y'all so much. And
you.
I'm gonna try to end this recording. And then we'll.
Congratulations, Jennifer.